All right, guys. Review packet for the multiple choice free response part. We don't have time to go over every question this time. So if you need an extra copy, they're up on the black drawers up here, but you all should have this. I made 100 copies for 70 students and they're gone. So somebody has multiple copies. All right, I'm going to review distance and midpoint because I don't think you remember. Distance is really Pythagorean theorem, remember? Change in x squared, change in y squared will give you the distance squared. So it's the square root of the difference in the x's and the difference in the y's. Let's see if I can get my cursor fixed here. There we go. All right, so negative 11 minus 3, 2 minus 5. You can type it all in. I don't know if it's an exact answer. It might be, so don't type the square root in. This would be 196 and 9. What is that, guys? 203? Somebody should type that in and check on me. 205? Is it 205? Yes, you're right. I think it's 205. I don't know if it's an exact answer, a reduced answer, or a decimal on the quiz. I think it's multiple choice. If it was a decimal, you could get it, right? If it was a reduced answer, you could type them in and find an equivalent decimal. I'm going with we're done. Okay? How do you find midpoint? Don't make me mad. Yes, you average the x's and the y's, right? So you add the x's and you add the y's and you divide by 2 because there's 2 numbers. Is that negative 4? Anybody helping me here? 7 halves? I don't know. Someone tell me if I did that wrong. Okay, so I'm good. Any questions on distance and midpoint? What is number 2 asking you to do? Take the x function, the f function, sorry, and subtract the g function, which would require you to distribute the negative, right? So you'd end up with an x squared, a minus 6x. 4 minus negative 1 would be 5, I think. This is substitute in. You'd have to FOIL it out and simplify. I'm not going there unless someone needs me to. How do you know that a function has an inverse that's also a function? Has to pass what? Yes. Vertical line test and horizontal line test. So this would have a inverse that's also a function. Someone told me yesterday, make sure you do all the ones that are free response. This might be a free response question, I think. What do we have to do here? Okay, condense. Quotient rules, or yeah, it says that you can take these that are currently minus and combine them as a division. We don't really need to exponentiate this one. You could, you'd probably do it right, but because there's a single log on both sides now, we can say the log base 4 of A equals the log base 4 of B, so therefore A equals B. If we multiply the 7 over here and divide, I don't know, I got 140, 280, I think that's right. Make sure if it happened to come out negative that you plug it back in, but I think it's all good. Any questions? Yes. And a gridded response, actually. Which reminds me, I did not see those pages in here. Did I mess something up? Shoot, I don't think I have the right review open. I'm matching what you have so far, though, right? Yeah, hang on. I'm quickly switching. Thanks. Hope this is the right one. There. Starting with 17, you have little grids, right? Okay, because that's how the test is, and we wanted you to practice that. All right, back up here. Where do you need me to go from? Which ones do you want me to do or not do here? Number 6 we need to talk about. Too many of you took me to heart, and believe me, at the beginning of the year when I said, if it doesn't have a radical or a denominator, it's all real numbers, right? Yeah. Well, that's true for polynomials, but this is exponential and this is logarithmic, and that's not true. It's not necessarily all real numbers, okay? 3 to the x, whoa, if you graph it, looks like this. The domain is all real numbers, but does anybody remember what a log function looks like, no matter what the base? It's the inverse of one of those, so it looks like this. Is that all real numbers? No. What's the domain of that? Can only take the log of what kind of numbers, guys? Yes. So it's, does that make sense for the graph now? Okay. So be careful. Graph it if you have to. Everybody remember where the log base button is? Under math. Okay. Either one of these you need me to do? How do you get rid of the denominator? Because it can't have an I? By? By? Conjugate is the word. What's that mean? 1 plus 4i, yes. So on the top, if I FOIL, I get 2 plus 8i plus 5i plus 20i squared. In the denominator, I get 1 plus 4i minus 4i minus 16i squared. So this is gone. And what does 20i squared become? Negative 20, and negative 16i squared becomes... Okay, so on the top I have a negative 18 plus 13i. How did I do? Over 17, or negative 18 17ths plus 13 17ths I. Did I do something wrong, guys? We okay? Yes. Oh, this is fine. Yes. Write the slope-intercept form of the equation a line through this perpendicular to this. What's perpendicular means going to happen to this slope? Flip and change sign so it becomes positive 5. And then how do you start this? Some of you did it differently, but I taught it with slope point slope form. Okay, this is x sub 1, y sub 1, and this is the m, and it's y minus y sub 1 equals m, x minus x sub 1. So y minus 3 equals 5x minus 25, add 3, y equals 5x minus 22. Anybody else get that? Does it go through 5, 3 and have a slope of 5? Yes, it does. Anybody? Questions? 9, do you need me to do this one? What could you do to start? Yeah, you could do synthetic division, and whatever's left will be what? No, it says factor completely. Yeah, whatever's left should be factorable, right? Because it'll be, yep. Okay, let me try this again. Bring down, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. Okay, so what's left is x squared minus 7x plus 6, which will factor x minus 6, x minus 1, and we had an x plus 2 that we started with. Okay? Any questions on that one? Do you remember how to do the domain of a radical? Anything underneath a radical has to be what? Greater than or equal to 0. I know I'm going fast, but the only way we're going to get through all this. Yes.
Okay, then.
Because when I put a negative 5 halves in here and multiply it, I get negative 5 plus 5 is 0.
Okay.
Yes. I can post these slides, yes, and the Miss Abruzzo did do the whole video of all of the problems. It's like an hour long, but it's already in Classroom under assignment. I can find it and repost it if you need. Do you need this, guys? Good on that, right? Piecewise, yep. A little nervous about this. It's free response. A suggestion, could you put this in your calculator? And then graph the points between what? Negative 3 and 2? I could do these faster in my head, but I'm just trying to think how you guys would do this. Make sure your table is on auto. What did it say? Negative 3 and positive 2, right? So you would be plotting the points negative 3, 4, negative 2, negative 1, negative 1, negative 4, 0, negative 5, 1, negative 4, and 2, negative 1. But what happens at 2, negative 1? Yep, but it's, nope, that's the one that's open because it was not equal to. But you do have to go right to that point. You have to plot that point. All right, then it says x minus 3 for values 2 and greater. I'm just going to do this by hand. You could do it on your calculator. So values of x 2 and greater, 2 minus 3 would be negative 1, 0, 1. That'll give me the right idea here. So it starts at 2, negative 1. Oh, what do I do then? It starts at that same spot. I just fill it in. Yep, I don't need to, it doesn't matter, it's now solid. And then it says 3041, so it's a line going off this way. So that is continuous from -3 on to the right. I don't think that question is on there, but any questions? This is a parabola whose vertex, you can use your calculator, vertex is at -2, -4, and it looks like this. All right, and I'm supposed to go from -3 to 0. Any of those open? Which one's got an open circle? When I put in a 0, which I think gave me out a 4, someone could be checking me, but this was solid. This one should be open and at 4. Mine isn't. Okay. And then this one, where's that at? At y equals -3 down here, starting with a solid circle at 0 and just going to the right. How do I know it's going to the right? Yeah, all values greater than 0. So that one is discontinuous at 0. Questions? There is one, graph the piecewise function. Oh, do we remember factoring cubics? Yes. You should always use SOAP. What else? How does it start? What's the cubed root of this? -1, because it's same sign as above. Now we're not looking at this anymore. You square the first one. What's 2x times 2x though?
4.
Then you do 2x times 1, and then you do 1 squared. Now is when we use SOAP. Okay, we kept the same sign. That was S. Opposite sign, and this one is always positive. So this is plus, plus. Did you need me do the other one, or you got it? What's the cubed root of all this, guys? 5x plus 3. Okay, 5x times 5x. 5x times 3. 3 squared. And it will not factor again. What would you do to number 14? Because this should be like the easiest question on the test. Somebody's going to say square it, somebody's going to say distribute, both of which are not my suggestion. Divide by 2, square root, plus or minus 5, right? -1 plus or minus 5. And then you would have to finish and give me, what, -6 and 4? One on the quiz might like be -1 plus or minus square root of 7 at the end or something, so you don't have to do anything. I don't remember. You can't leave it like that. It's whole numbers. Questions? All right, what about these guys? Who's the parent of the first two? What are these V things? Oh my goodness. Absolute value. And the third one? Okay. Now what? Okay. So the normal absolute value is here. So it went what? Okay, right 1 and down 3. How do you do right 1 and down 3? Right 1 would be minus, good job. Down 3, okay. The way we actually did these was to find the stretch, K or A or whatever you want to use out here by plugging in a point, right? So I could pick, what is that, 3, -2? So I'd have -2 equals 3 minus 1 minus 3, add this 3 first. And this would be 2, absolute value is 2, so we get K is what? Does anybody remember the trick for these? Is that the slope of the right-hand branch right there is 1/2, up 1 over 2, okay? What about this, Gab? It's left 1, up 3, so what do we have? Okay. It is flipped, but if you just do the K, it'll take care of itself. But yes, you should remember at the end it should be negative. It looks like it goes through 0, 1. Can I use that point? So 1 equals K times 0 plus 1 plus 3. Remember, we have to get rid of that guy. And then this is multiplied, which is just 1. So we end up with -2. All right, where's the vertex on this one? Okay, so what does that look like? Okay, the stretch is out here. How about 3, 1? Does it look like it goes through that point? So if I put that in, I'll have 1 equals A times 3 minus 1 squared plus 3. Subtract that guy. This is 2 squared would be 4. So then if I divide, I get -1/2. Does it make sense? It's going down? Okay, I went really fast. There's extra copies of this up here tonight if you need to practice those, okay? Or else just cover up your answer and practice them. Even and odd, it just tell me what they mean. Even function means y-axis, so it might look like this, right? Odd function means with the origin, so it might look like this. If you rotate it 180, it looks the same. Okay, that was a pretty bad graph, but you get the idea. This one I know looks like this. What's that? Yep, so that's odd. This one looks like that. That's none, right? I can't tell you exactly what these look like, but they are even and odd. You can graph them and check. Odd, even. There's one question on there. It's multiple choice. Graph them all if you need to. Question? Tristan, you're making me very nervous. 17. This is the app, but it is a gridded response on the test. We only put these on here because they're on the SAT, okay? So we're trying to help you get ready. If we go to the thing, do you remember how to do this? Apps, enter. What do we got going on here? Borrowing $106,000 at 8% for 20 years. So what do we do at the top? 20 times 12. 8% was the interest, I think, right? And you don't move the decimal. Okay, present value. Okay, you can do positive or negative, it doesn't matter. But we borrowed that money, they gave it to us for the house. So we're already in the hole. What are we trying to find? Monthly payments. Monthly payment is what we're trying to find, so you could zero this out for now, but future value is 0. That's where there has to be a 0. Then we're going to go back to, and it's monthly, so 12 and 12. Then the payment is where we're going to do alpha enter, not second enter. So our monthly payment should be 886, what was it? 63. Okay. So you'd go over here and bubble 886. There's a decimal already here for you. 63. 886. 63. I don't know if on the test it doesn't ask for total payments or if it has a separate grid. I don't really remember. Might not ask for it. But do you remember how to do total payment? Yeah, it was 12 times 20, right? Anybody give me that number? Nice and loud. Did I hear you right? Right. Questions? All right, 18. I want to growl really badly right now because we're still not good at these. Somebody tell me what the plan is. Common denominator, 6, 5, and 2. Nobody? Okay. Every single thing gets multiplied by 30. 30 times 1 divided by 6 is 5, and that one has an x. 30 times 2 divided by 5 is 12. 30 times 2x, don't forget that one. And 30 times 11 divided by 2, 165. That's minus. All right. If we add 165 and subtract 5x, is that even reduce? One. That's just the answer, right? Nice, disgusting. Okay. I don't know if this is on here again. It's possible that it is. How did it go yesterday? Don't ask. This is quadratic formula, which is opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Over the course of the day, more than half of you got it right, but not enough for an Algebra 1 question, let me tell you. AC. No. 2a. So we have -4 plus or minus 16 and 44 is 60, which would be square root of 4 times square root of 15. This one reduces. The one yesterday did not. Then what? -2 plus or minus square root of 15, because this divides into both of those. You can't reduce until the end, and it's got to divide into both. Questions? What about this guy? Square both sides. This becomes x plus 5, but this is x minus 15 times x minus 15, which is x squared minus 15x minus another 15x plus 225. So if you make it equal to 0, you'll have negative 31x plus 220. Yep, I don't know. 10 times 22 doesn't work. Does 9 or 8 go in there? Four. Oh, didn't I already say that? And I said no? I don't know. It's minus 11 and minus 20. I don't know what I said a minute ago. Oh, I said 10 and 22. Yes, 11 and 20 would make 31. So I get 11 or 20. If I put them back in, which one's not going to work and why? If I put 11 in, I get 11 minus 15, which is negative 4. Can you square root a number and get a negative? Okay. All right. This problem with this one, first of all, this didn't go well when we did it in general, but the other problem is some of you tried to multiply everything together to get the common denominator. You don't need to multiply everything together because if you factor this over here, what is the common denominator? Yes, x times x plus 3. So we're going to go x times x plus 3 times that, and x times x plus 3 times this, and x times x plus 3 times this. Okay, here the x plus 3's cancel. We have an x times a 2x, which is, okay, here the x cancels, so we have a negative 3 distributing through an x plus 3. I think I'll write that down so we get it right. And then here, both of these cancel both of these, so we just have equals 5. So we have 2x squared minus 3x minus 9, and then minus that 5 would be minus 14. The only way to make a 2x is a 2 and a 1. 7 and 2. If I put the 7 here and the 2 here, this one's negative and this one's positive, I think it works. So I get x equals negative 2 or 7 halves. Either one going to make the denominator 0? What were the two numbers that would make the denominator 0? Right? It was x and x plus 3. Yes? So x can't be 0 or negative 3. So we're good. We have two solutions. If I did that right, I don't know. All right. This might be a gridded response. I can't remember. But this says the city is decreasing at a rate of 2% per year. This is not yes. Yes. This is not continuous. This is the formula, and you will have your card again. But it's just straight up original population, 1 plus or minus in this case. Minus 2% would be 0.02, right? To the x, but from 2000, what? Oh, well, I think we messed up. Let's go with 2020. I don't know. It says 2 different years, right? Okay. If it started in 2000 and that was the population in 2000, how many years later is this? 1. So 148,522 times either 1 minus 0.02, or you could use 0.98 to the 20 power, and then round to the nearest person. 148,522 times 0.98 to the 20. 99154, anybody? Oh my goodness, I can't write. Right? Because then it's 0.47, which is not a half a person. Okay, use properties of exponents to solve. Ms. Abruzzo calls these baby-based questions. They need to have the same base. So 2 to the 3x is good, but what do I need to rewrite 8 as? Yes. Now, this is where everybody goes wrong. Because they write down 3 equals 3 times 2x minus 5, and then they write 6x minus 5. What's wrong? Nope. What are we supposed to do with exponents? We have to multiply, but we have to do what? We have to distribute. A whole bunch of you forgot to distribute. Just wrote down 6x minus 5 on that question because I had retakes up the yin-yang and still people were doing it wrong. It should be 6x minus 15. X equals 5. So then if we put it back in, we get 2 to the 15. And over here, if we put a 5 in, we get equals 8 to the 5, which you should be able to check on your calculator. So what does x equal? 5. Okay, guys. I think you can bubble from either the left or the right. I would just put it on the far right. And I wouldn't put zeros in. Okay? I think we made sure that you could put 005 or just put the 5 on the right, but I know on the SAT you can do either one, 5 on the far left or the far right, but this is a Mastery Manager, so it's a little bit different. Condense, expand. I can go back over those if you need me to, but I don't want to run out of time. Find the total value of an investment compounded monthly if it's left for 4 years. This is just a compound interest question. So it should just be 2,500 times 1 plus what? 0.043 divided by 12 to the power of 4 times 12. You will have your sheet, but it is just a compound interest question. If I type that in real fast. I got 2968.28. Did anyone else get that? 2968.28. The decimal is there so that you remember to round to hundreds. And then you'd bubble. I don't need to show you how to bubble, right? All right. 27. Yep. Nervous about this question because it has multiple parts. It's worth multiple points. And some of you still can't type this in your calculator to get the right graph. It's 5,000 divided by parenthesis 1 plus 49 seconds ln to get E, and then parenthesis if you have an older calculator, otherwise you're up in that little box, and it's negative x divided by 5. Up in that little box, arrow to the right, close my parenthesis. Okay. How many whole fish were there at 2 months? What do I want to do? I could actually go to the table, yep, and just look up 2. If eventually I'm going to have to graph this, I'm going to go out like 20 years. What should it max out at, guys? What was the top number? 5,000? So I'm going to put 6,000 as my max. Whoa. It's not growing very fast. If I go to trace 2 months, I get 148 fish if I round to whole number. If I go to the graph to 2, this would round to or to the table, I'm sorry, would round to 148. So 148 whole fish. 148 bubble 148. Okay. When did it reach 3,400 fish? I don't know about you, but this was growing very slowly, wasn't it? So I think I need to go, whoa, what is that? Go away. Okay. My window needs to go out like 80 years, I don't know. But I also need to put in, what was it? What number am I trying to hit, guys? 3,400? Okay. So intersect, and it's 23.2 years because it says, what? Oh, these were months anyway. The whole thing was in months. My bad. The whole thing was in months to begin with. I said it wrong. So, what was it though? 23.2? Okay. Is the table going to do that for you? No, because the table is not going to get you to the nearest 10th. You could say, well, it went somewhere between month 23 and 24, but it's not going to tell you 23.2. Any questions? You sure? I went fast. How close are we getting here? Is this all we got left? Okay. Anything you want me to talk about in particular? All right, I'll just keep going then. This is a parabola that opens down. So the extreme value would be the vertex, which is 311, has an extreme value of, well, the function's extreme value is 11. I don't know how it asked for it in the question, but it's the y value. F of x has an x coordinate at its vertex of, so could you graph this, or you could use this? Do you remember this formula? So that would be positive 12 over 6 would be 2, because that's all it asks for is the x coordinate. You don't even have to plug it back in. Okay, how do you find a whole? Oh, we need to do this one because you weren't good at this. After you factor 5 and 3, negative 10 plus, okay. So I factored it very quickly. This is the common factor, right? So what is the x value of our whole? Negative 3/2. But how do we find the y value? Yes, but you cannot plug it into the factored one, right? You have to cancel those factors and then plug it in. If you plug in negative 3/2 here, you will get negative 6 over negative 6.5. Someone divide that for me. Math, enter, enter. What is it? Which is, that's not reduced. Oh, 12 over 13. I thought you said 15. All right. I went really fast, but you plug, it would be 2 times negative 3/2 minus 3 all over negative 3/2 minus 5. Okay? I think I did it right. What do you have to do on this one, guys? Take the log of both sides. and then just divide. Okay. All right. Let's go through these real fast. Anybody know what this one does? Reflect over X, upside down. This one is reflect over Y, which is left to right. This one is vertically stretch by 2 up this way twice as far. This is horizontal shrink by 1/2. It's going to go in this way. Okay, this is horizontal stretch. It's going to go out this way. This is vertical shrink. It's going to shrink in this way on the black. This makes it all positive. Left 6, right 6.
Hold up.
All right, I think you're good with the rest. Is that it? Okay. I'll key the rest and put the slides in Google Classroom, okay? Keaton, did he leave? Does anyone know where he has next? Shoot. It's a reminder for detention. Just take a picture and send it. Thank you. Oh, I'm recording. Yeah, well, anyway. All right, I'm going to try to go through these and see them real quick. If this is the original, this has been stretched horizontally by 2. Horizontal stretch by 2. That would be this one. So this is A. Can I pause this? All right, so I think I got the first one here. The second one, B, looks like it is shrunk vertically. I think it still has the same y-intercept or x-intercepts. So this is a vertical shrink, while this was a horizontal stretch. So a vertical shrink, huh? A vertical shrink would be this guy. Okay, now we're on to C, and of course I can't see the parent function anymore. Yep, I'm gonna need a copy of that. Okay. So here's my parent function. This one has been reflected over the y-axis, reflected left to right. So that would be the negative inside. So that would be this guy. D is upside down, but it is also what? Shifted. Okay, let's just go by this little point right here. That point was, we'll say, 7, negative 20. And now it's 10, 25. So I would say upside down and to the right and up. I'm thinking it's that one, which is, I think I even have the numbers right, this guy. But it was right and up. So that would be this one. I don't know what we're on. Are we on C or D? That's D. My bad. Be the worst video ever, guys. Did I just delete a page? Nice. Way to go, Hoffbauer. Okay, D. All right, back here, E is upside down and nothing else, maybe? Yeah, it looks the same size to me, upside down. So upside down and nothing else was way back here, the first choice here, and I'm on E, I think. Check that again. Yep. Okay. Now I'm on F, and F is definitely shrunk in this way, horizontal shrink. So that's this one. Okay. G is shifted to the right a whole bunch, like about 8 or something. 6 maybe. Which would be this guy. Whoops, I was answering those in red. H shifted left a bunch. Let's go with 6. Oh my goodness, I can't write. All right. Bring this with me. This page. I think we're on I. I is vertically stretched. Let's see. It's still crossing over here and here, but it used to go up to like 5, and now it's up to 10. So I would say 2 vertical stretch, which would be this guy. Okay, so J, goodness, upside down, but that would put this point here, and it's over here. So upside down, and then left something, and down, say roughly 5. So it must be this guy right here. Okay. This went, oh, well, let's just erase that mess. Oh, this is all positive, so that one's easy. K is this guy. Is that all of them? All right. So I answered all of them eventually. Good luck.